Hi guys, Nagaraj here. Today topic is exception versus error in Java. During our Java program execution, the execution sometime it will stop or it will disturb due to some event occurs in between during the program execution. So this may be some of the disturbance due to some exceptions. So exception here means an exception is an unexpected event which occurs during the execution of the program. It may stop our normal flow of program execution. But even though if it stops, so in Java we have many ways to handle these kind of exceptions. So there are two types of exceptions we have in Java. So the one is checked exception and one more is unchecked exception. So checked exception is also called as compile time exception, and unchecked exceptions it is runtime exception. So as the name itself says that the checked exception in the sense it is occurs during the compile time. So checked exception will occur during the compile time. So during the compiler itself, this exception can be identified. So checked exception is exception that occurs during the compile time. Cannot simply be ignored at the time of compilations. The programmer should take or handle these exception. We can't ignore the checked exceptions. We need to fix it there itself or handle it there itself, and we need to proceed with the further executions. We'll see some of the example for checked exception. For example, in checked exceptions, I have provided one example here. Our intention is to read the data from the file and you should perform some operations. Suppose if you are trying to read the data but file is not present in the specified locations, in that time we'll get some exception. That exception is maybe the exceptions will be file not found exceptions. Okay, then we need to fix it and we should move further. So we need to try to fix that specific location, or need to place the file path which we have defined in the program. Then we need to fix it and we should place our required file and we should proceed. Otherwise, there will be checked exceptions will occur. This exception can be handled by the program by try catch blocks. There are different way we can handle this. One of the method is called try catch block. Okay, this is regarding the checked exception. Checked exception, in brief, we can say it is occurs during the compile time, and these exceptions cannot be ignored during the compile time because programmer can handle or he can fix it during the exception. So unchecked exceptions, what is this? So as the name says, it is runtime exception. Unchecked exception is an exception that occurs at the time of execution or during the runtime, meaning bug or such as logical error or improper use of the API. Runtime exceptions. Unchecked exceptions are those exceptions which occurs during the runtime. These exceptions may be while program are writing the code, they may create some bugs inside or logical error, or it may be the not used proper way of API, not properly used, or runtime exceptions are ignored at the time of compilations. So since it is not identified during the compilations, it will be catched during the runtime. For example, we have declared an array of size 5, but we are trying to call sixth element. Usually we have defined only 5, we have 5 elements, but sixth element you are trying to fetch the data, or you are calling the sixth element. That time you are getting some exception, array index out of boundary exceptions. Okay, we get this exception. Exception can also be handled by try catch block. Checked exceptions are those exceptions which occurs during the runtime. These errors may be a programming logic missing, or programming defect, or some API we are not properly used. So these kind of exceptions not identified during the compile time, it will occur during only the runtime. Okay, example we have provided, like if you are using some data which is not defined. Okay, so in this example it will show array index out of boundary exception. Okay, so now we will come to the error. What is error? What's the difference between the exception, how it deviates from the exception and error? Let's start with error now. So we'll see the definition and what is error actually, and how we can how it differs from the exception. The error indicates the problem occurs during the program execution. It cannot be handled, but in case of exception we can able to handle it, but in error occurs we can't able to handle it because the error is not exception. If the error occurs, then user don't have a control on to fix this error. Okay, so errors are typically ignored your code because you are, for example, so stack overflow occurs and a network issue. While during the program execution, if any memory issues comes, we can't able to handle through the program, and if there are network issues, we don't know when the network issue will occur. So these kind of we can't handle also. These kind of things are nothing but the error. We can see a few scenario below so that we will be having more idea on checked exceptions. So first we'll see arithmetic exception. When this arithmetic exceptions will occur, suppose I have one data types integer and variable a 50 divided by 0. Definitely there will be arithmetic exceptions will occur because we are dividing number by 0. Okay, in this case the arithmetic exceptions will occur. When the null pointer exceptions will come, so we define some variable, string variable, and we are trying to perform some operation on it. In that case we will get the null pointer exception. Here the n is assigned the value null and we are trying to get the length of the string. So in that case the null pointer exception. When number format exceptions occurs, suppose we are trying to convert the string value into the integer. For example, in this case you can see that the string s is equal to, I have defined some string value. When a number format exceptions occurs, this kind of exceptions occurs when we are trying to convert one variable to the another variable. Something like this example, so now we are converting this string variable into the integer or digit. So in that case, because we can't able to convert this string into the integer value, so that time we'll receive number format exception. And one more, we can see the array index out of boundary exception. We have defined some array with the size of 5. Now I am trying to add value on the 10th element, so which is not defined here because the size itself is 5, but we are adding to the 10th element. So here in this case the array index out of boundary exceptions will occur. So maybe this one will be more clear for you. The main difference between the exception and error. Exception can be handled by the programmer, but error we can't able to handle it. Error exceptions we have two types: checked exception and unchecked exception. Okay, checked exception will occur in the compile time and unchecked exceptions will occur in the runtime. So in interview they may ask some few example like see they will provide this scenario, so what kind of exception we can expect. So we need to tell the arithmetic exception in this case. Okay, definitely they will ask can you give the example for the null pointer exception, so you can provide similar kind of example. Okay, still if you have any doubts or concern, you can put it in comment section, so I will try to resolve it. And thank you guys, thank you for watching this video. And if you like this video, please hit like button. If you don't like, please hit dislike button, and don't forget to subscribe my channel for the new videos. Thanks.